Hi there, I'm John and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm John from Nigeria. I talk about books, everything bookish. You can find it here from singular book reviews, book hauls, and I also write for a Substack called A Life of Darks. I'll put the link below. I don't have anything new there yet, but I am possibly working on a review that will be going up very soon, so you can look out for that. Today though, it is going to be the book haul I talked about in the last video. It's currently a little after 1 a.m. As you know, this is when I can conveniently shoot these videos, so I am going to try to run you guys through all 68 of the books I got in the past month. So this book got in from, I think, ranging from early June till now. Yes, early June till now. So, and most of them I got when I traveled to Lagos for my little trips. And yeah, there's this section for my birthday this month, so I am so excited to hold up all these books to the camera, and I don't want this to be too long, so I'll try to make sure I don't spend time gushing about why I got XYZ, but yeah, I will do my best. Let's get into it, I guess. The first book here is The Summer Book by Tove Jansson. This is translated from the Norwegian, if I'm not mistaken, translated from the Swedish, sorry. Yeah, I really like this cover, very summery and also an NYRB. You know, I've mentioned how we don't see this a lot here. Barely. This is like maybe the fourth one I'm seeing overall ever, and I quickly bought it because it was an NYRB, but it was also lucky that I knew, like I had heard about the book and I wanted to read it, so yeah, score on that point. Next, I have Voltaire by Candide. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's this whimsical cover with a man on the front. I got it because I had been interested in it for a while. It's pretty short. It's French, I think from the early 19th century or 19th century, I don't know, but I love French books. I try to do one every year, and I think I'm probably going to read this before the year is over. Next, we have Jacob's Room by Virginia Woolf in this Oxford World Classics edition. I only found out about this, I think in June, when The Guardian made the 100 greatest books of all time list. I did not know she had a work like this, and that is the only reason I bought it. My copy has some annotations that I also did not know about before buying them, and I hate people annotating books for me, but I'm going to stomach it this one time. I'm slowly collecting all of Virginia Woolf's work, even though I've not read anything by her, which is crazy, but you know, some authors, I say it every time, you just know that they are going to affect you so deeply. I think she's one of those authors, and if it does not happen, it's going to be something. Next is Kindred by Octavia Butler. I have heard so many good things about this one. Made me excited to pick it up. It was also on the Guardian's list, so yeah, Kindred. Next is another one that was also on that list and one I have wanted to own for a while. It's Catch 22 by Joseph Heller. I've heard so many great things about this. I really do not even know what it's about, and it's a bit of a chunker, to be honest, because this is over 400 pages. Yeah, but yeah, I really like it. It's a clean copy, so made me eager to buy it, and it was pretty affordable. And finally, from this set, it's The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. This is now my second Dostoevsky, although I used to own this in another edition, but I'm just lucky to get it back. Yeah, I'm slowly trying to build up my classic shelf again, and this is the Richard Piver and Larissa Polonsky translation. So now this next set was when I found this man's warehouse in Lagos, and it felt like a new world had been opened up to me because it had some new releases, or like some more recent contemporary releases that just came in, but then he had like so many like 20th century literature from authors I had wanted to own for a while, and it just felt like a kid in the candy store, and my mouth was open because there were a lot of books to search through, and it just kind of like rocked me and my friends' world. So yeah, the first one here is A Swimming Pond in the Rain by George Saunders. This came out a few years ago. It's in which four Russians gave a master class on writing. So this is Saunders. I think it's a compilation of maybe lectures or something like that. It looks at four Russian writers. Yeah, and so the four Russian writers are Chekhov, Turgenev, Tolstoy, and Gogol. Yeah, and I've read Tolstoy, I've read Gogol, I want to read the other two. And yeah, it also looks really good inside, just to see the spine, like really clean, really white. I was so shocked to see this. I did not hesitate to get it immediately. Next, I got the information by Martin Amis. This is the second Amis I am acquiring. You'll see another one, the one I really wanted to own. You'll see it later, but yeah, I did not know anything about this, but it just felt right to buy it. It just felt so like vintage, and I was like, immediate yes. Next, I got The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, winner of the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction 2001. You'd see quite a number of Pulitzer Prize winners in this haul, but this is one I've always wanted to own. Because I've heard so many great things about it, and I think from the time the New York Times made the 100 best books of the 21st century, this was one of the ones high up there, and I know people who have read this and really liked it. I don't know much about it, but very eager to get to it. Following that, we have Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. I think this won the Pulitzer Prize in 2002 or 3. I cannot remember. I cannot see it here rather, but yeah, this was a very clean copy, so it was like an instant buy because I've always wanted to buy this book. And I have a very funny story of how I got Middlesex I got Middlemarch by George Eliot in 2019, and it was this book I was actually trying to buy, or maybe 2020, I cannot remember, but yeah, I will get to this someday for sure. It was also in that New York Times list. But next is Glamorama by Bret Easton Ellis. I really want to read Bret Easton Ellis. This is not where I want to start personally. Maybe I would want to start with Less Than Zero or American Psycho, but I saw this. I've seen American Psycho once online, but yeah, physically this was probably the first time I saw any of his works, and this one like so shocking to find here, so I got it. Next, we have my first Don DeLillo I got. This is Mao 2. Oh yeah, I don't know if that's how you say it, but this novel is a beauty, a vision as bold and a voice as eloquent and morally focused as any in American writing. Thomas Pynchon. So that's very interesting. I don't really know much about this, but I knew I'd seen this a couple of places. I want to read DeLillo, like Easton Ellis. I want to start with maybe White Noise. That's where my brain has this way it picks like where I would like to start with certain authors depending on what I saw first from them. So it does the same thing with DeLillo, but these were the ones I was able to get my hands on, so yeah, it does not matter. Next, I have Testament of Youth by Vera Brittain. This is one woman's unforgettable record of the First World War, a haunting elegy for a lost generation. I think this is an autobiography published in 1933. I think my friend Elijah on Instagram was the first person who I saw post this book, and yeah, it's just like, for some reason I just thought to myself, it reminded me of when I first read Anne Frank's diaries, and yeah, it's a very chunky one. I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but I just have this sense that it's going to affect me deeply. I love memoirs, I love autobiographies and all that stuff, so yes. Next, we have The Go-Between by L.P. Hartley. It's this wonderful cover in the Penguin 20th Century Classics. This is the second one I'm acquiring, so yeah, I don't really know much about this, but it just looked really good. But I also did not know if I'd seen it somewhere. I keep wondering where I first saw this from, but I don't really care. It's my own now. I'm very happy to own it. Next, I got What I Loved by Siri Husvet. I've seen this a couple of times online, this cover, especially because it stands out to you. I don't know what this is about, like a lot of these books, but I know Siri Husvet was the wife of Paul Auster. So yeah, that's all I know about it, and I got it. Next, I got Cosmopolis by Don DeLillo. This is the second DeLillo I mentioned, and maybe since I do not own any of those books, I want to start with. Oops, this is where I'm going to start because it's pretty slim, and my friend who has read this said it's really good, so I'm taking his word for it. Next, I got Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. I know maybe Slaughterhouse-Five did not like overwhelm me, but I still think it's really good. But then this is not really like giving Vonnegut another chance, but sort of. So I saw this and I was like, let's get it. I would like to try another Vonnegut, and it was, yeah, it's old in some ways, and it has funny drawings inside, which is very interesting to me. But yeah, I'm excited to maybe see if this one will get at me more than Slaughterhouse-Five. We'll see. I got the Sound and the Fury in this vintage classics edition that I am collecting. I'm collecting this edition in particular because I keep finding them by accident, and it's always books by authors I want to own, and I'm like, now it has kind of put it on my radar to look out for this specific edition. But that aside, the Sound and the Fury, Faulkner, I've heard so many great things about how he's one of like the masters of fiction from the 20th century, in line with James Joyce and Virginia Woolf. So I'm very excited to get to this eventually, and really clean copy too. Next, it was like I suddenly won the lottery when I saw not one, not two, not three, but four Philip Roth novels, and I was like, what the hell? And I could not hold myself back. I had to get all of them. So the first one here is The Human Stain. I do not really know anything about this one, but I know if anything, his voice always gets me, and I'm so excited for it. So I already owned The Ghostwriter and American Pastoral. So yeah, this was my third addition to the collection. Following that, I got Indignation. This one I had never heard about, but I'd heard of The Human Stain, and yes, Indignation is the story of a young man's education in life's terrifying chances and bizarre obstructions. I'm just going to stop there because you guys know blurbs gets to me, and this one looks like pretty short, so yeah. And then following that, I got Nemesis in this edition that I own my copy of The Ghostwriter in. I just like owning books in the same edition for some reason, and yeah, do not know much about this, but again, Philip Roth, that is the reason it is here. And finally, I don't know if this needs to be censored because there's a woman not wearing clothes here, but this is Goodbye Columbus, a novella and 5 short stories. I think this was Roth's debut work, if I'm not mistaken. I think this was his debut work. I think Goodbye Columbus was maybe his first story or something like that. I don't know where I saw that from, but yeah, I am very happy to own this and going to get into it in the future. And finally, we have 3 books which have ties to the Pulitzer. The first one is There by Tommy Orange. It made big waves on the bookish scene when it was released. I think in when was this released? 2019, 2020. 2018. So yeah, I knew I had seen this and I'd heard really great things about it. It was a Pulitzer Prize finalist, so I got it then. I got The Hours by Michael Cunningham. I don't know too much about this, but I know Virginia Woolf is in the plot of this, and this was the adaptation was the film Nicole Kidman won her Oscar for, and yeah, it won the Pulitzer Prize as well. So there's that. And I got Thinkers by Paul Harding. This also won the Pulitzer. Really short, really slim. I don't know much about this, if anything at all. But yeah, it has blurbs from Robinson, Barry Unsworth. I got Assassins Quest by Robin Hobb. This is the third book in a trilogy. I don't read fantasy series, but I already own the first book. This is it. It's a bit worn, so the owner gave it to me free because I said I owned the first book in the trilogy already. So yeah, this is one of like maybe two, three fantasy series I'm going to read in my lifetime. For some reason, I cannot remember why it's on the list, but yeah. Next, I got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but I used to own this and I sold it, but yeah, I've gotten it back. It's in this, it's a little worn. You can see the tears here and here, but I kind of like it. It adds this vintage, it adds a sort of antiquity to it, and yeah, I really like it. The man at the corner. I don't really know much about this, if anything, but excited to own it. And the next two are by the same author. It's Aldous Huxley, the author of Brave New World, and this is Eyeless in Gaza. Both were free books because you can see they are not in the best condition. But to me, I was like, the words are complete, right? Give them to me, I don't mind. And yeah, I'm very excited to own Brave New World finally because I know it's very, very, very notable and very influential. So I cannot wait to read it because I do not have a lot of dystopian books under my belt. Next, I got John Paul Sartre's Nausea. I used to own these as well. I own another one of his works. But I had to get rid of that copy, and this one was also free because again you can see it's worn a bit, but yeah, it's complete with the writing, so that does it for me. And I got Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. You guys know I love Catcher in the Rye. That's one of my favorite books of all time. I want to read everything he has ever written, and it pains me that he wrote so few books, and I think he wrote a lot of stories. So as much as I can get my hands on, I'll get my hands on. But I screamed when I saw this because that was the first time. And finally, it's a very tiny one. It's by George Simenon. It's Death of a Nobody, but it contains two stories, two baffling investigations for Maigret on the boulevards of Paris. That is, I have heard George Simenon's Mrs. Maple. Yeah. I got Edna O'Brien's The Country Girls. This is a trilogy. Normally, I would not buy like a trilogy in one book, but I don't know if I was ever going to see like the trilogy individually in this country, so I had to just get it. It's, I think, an Irish work, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's an Irish work, and it's a quite a notable one, so very excited to own it. I think you probably follow the lives of women, and that's the easiest way to get me. Next, I got Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. I own the corrections. That's where I'm going to start, but it's chunky. I desire to read more chunky books as I progress in life because that's how I started with thrillers that used to be like 400 pages, 500 pages, and we'll just like wolf them down. And it's like the time you spend with a book and the characters, and I kind of want to go back to that. I like some of the shorties, but I want to go back to the chunkers, and I had to get that because I know that is a notable name. Next, I got So Long, See You Tomorrow in the same vintage classics edition by William Maxwell. I really like the title of this book, and it's slim. I saw it, I had to get it. I don't know what else to say. Next, another I saw it, I had to get it, but even more like exciting for me was In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, but especially because it was in this edition, I could not like pass this up. And yeah, also so clean. I've heard good things about it. I once did a quiz that was like, what classic are you? It's kind of recommending a classic to you to read, and this was the book I got. So I don't know what that says about me, but we'll see when I read it. Next, I got To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf again with my collecting Woolf books, and it's so short, it's so smallish, it's so tiny, and yeah, looks so vintage, and it just makes me extremely happy that I now own To the Lighthouse, which I know is another one of her notable works. But Mrs. Dalloway, I said I would read this year. I promised I would read that this year. I'm looking towards September or so after Women in Translation Month. We'll see. But next, I got The Shining by Stephen King because I've never read this. I still adore Stephen King, even though I've not read him in a few years. I want to touch some of his very notable classic works. I've done It. I would like to do Carrie. I would like to do this. So I own Pet Cemetery. We'll see about that. But eyeing this for October maybe. And finally, in this set, it's a poetry collection which I do not own a lot of. This is Howl and Other Poems by Allen Ginsberg. He was a member of, let's say, the Beat generation. He was one of the authors of that generation. So even at the beginning of this, the dedication is to Jack Kerouac, the new Buddha of American prose, who spit forth intelligence into 11 books written in half the number of years, 1951 to 1956. Then William S. Burroughs, author of Naked Lunch. I know of him. Neil Cassidy, I don't know of that author, but yeah, I learned about Allen Ginsberg when watching Peter Huja's Day earlier in the year. It follows the photographer Peter Huja, and it's a film about like an interview where the interviewer just interviews him about a day in his life, what happens in a day in his life, and names are mentioned, Susan Sontag, a lot of names. It's very like literary. It got to me. I loved it. And yeah, these ones I'm about to show, they came before my birthday, the day before my birthday, and one of the books I'm most happy to own came that day. But the first one here is Birds of America by Mary McCarthy. I want to read this also, but I wanted to start with her work called The Group, that follows the life of a couple of women in New York. But I saw this one very affordable. My mutual had read it. He said it was really good, so I got this one. And next I got Enduring Love by Ian McEwan. If you remember, I read a book called On Chesil Beach by McEwan last year. I have Atonement. I own another one. I think it's Debut. This one was like 1,000 naira, so affordable, and I was like, I kind of liked his writing, so I would like to read more of him. He has a lot of books, that I'll say, but yeah, I got this. So these two, they're both by the same author, and the vendor gave them to me as a birthday gift. She knew it was my birthday. And the first one is Hilary Mantel's The Assassination of Margaret Thatcher. She writes historical fiction. She is known for Wolf Hall, Bring Up the Bodies, The Wolf, Thomas Cromwell, I think that's his name. Sorry, it's kind of a historical, I don't know if they're retelling or something of that era, and with Thomas Cromwell at the center, and she won the Booker Prize for both the first and the second books back to back, which is so interesting to me. And this is a short story collection. I like the black, the rose at the top, and yeah, I'm very happy to own this. I never thought I would own it, but the second one I showed in my last video, it's Mantelpieces. It's a collection of, it looks so good. Once again, it's a collection of essays Hilary Mantel wrote or that were published in the London Review of Books. So yeah, Royal Bodies and Other Writings from the London Review of Books, Hilary Mantel. Very happy. But the star of the show, and I would say one of the big stars of the entire haul, maybe the biggest, is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. We all know I read this last year, and it's made my top 7, top 10 list, and I have not stopped thinking about this book since like the months after I read it, when I was like, this was really good, or this was good and this was okay, but I don't think it's a favorite or anything. But then the character has stayed with me, her struggles have stayed with me, quotes from the book have stayed with me. The one about the bell jar, I am. That's one of my favorite ones. The narrative voice has stayed with me. I find that that is the thing that lingers a lot these days for me. By the time I'm done with books, I don't go into books like hope. I just go into books expecting what I expect. Sometimes it's the writing, sometimes it's the story, sometimes it's the character's voice. And for books like this, it's the character's voice, so highly influential on many other books, countless books, especially the ones about women in their 20s coming out today. And I'm so happy to own this book. I cannot tell you how much I am happy to own that. And then next, we have just about entered some chunkers. Like these were the ones I got this month when I went back for my birthday. And I went with my friend, one of my dearest friends. We are both bookish people, and we met buying books at the book fair. That was where we met, and books always keeps drawing us back together. And she's one of my dearest friends now. And we went to the man's warehouse once again, and I was like, oh, I've seen a good number of these things. And all of a sudden she was there for the first time, so she was doing more digging and searching, and she came out with some unexpected stuff that made us spend money that I promised I was not going to spend any money or buy any books. And I knew I was lying when I first saw the truth about the Harry Kuber affair, because I had seen this book at a very notable, it's, let's say, the Barnes and Noble's equivalent here. It's called Roving Heights. But their books are really expensive, at least for like the regular working people. I cannot near afford them. And I'd seen this there, so expensive. It was on my TBR, only to sit at this man's shop, and my mouth went, I had to get this. I had to get this hardback, mostly clean. It's, I think, translated from the French. Yes, translated from the French. I don't know what it's about, but I know it's like a mystery thriller sort of situation, and it was kind of a phenomenon when it came out. In when did this come out? In 2012. Yeah, 2012. Published in Britain 2014. So I had to get this. These two, I actually got them around February and May from a vendor that it's a Hunger Games battle to get books from them. It's literally that bad, but their books are like a flat rate of 4,000 naira, very affordable. It's just so hard because everybody wants what they have. They are selling the things we want from over there at like much cheaper prices than other people, and it's like a lot of people, hundreds of people online at the same time trying to get a book. But to cut it short, I got The Line Life of Adults by Elena Ferrante. This is the fifth Ferrante I now own. I love Ferrante in this house. I will read anything she writes, and yeah, this was an instant yes. It was not even just that I was an instant yes, it was that I was lucky to have won the war for it. But that's besides. The Song of Achilles I initially got for my best friend because it was his birthday was approaching. Then I forgot that he had read it, so I got him something else. I have also read this, and I might give it away eventually, and I don't know, I don't think I plan to read it. I thought it was good. I thought it was quite overhyped, a bit overhyped, but good nonetheless. There's some really touching parts in that. Next, I have The History of Love by Nicole Krauss. I first saw this when Alex from One Page Are You On, when he still had a lot of his videos on the channel, posted this, and that was when it first got onto my radar. And it has this bookmark, looks really nice. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, I don't really know what it's about. Very excited though, because I was like, what's that doing there? Why? Get it. Next, I got Desperate Characters by Paula Fox. I think I saw something about this in the Paris Review, and a particular author recommended it. I don't know if it was Secret Illness or somebody, but it has a blurb here by David Foster Wallace saying, a towering landmark of post-war realism, a sustained work of prose, so lucid and fine that it seems less written than carved. That is wow, that is great. um Excited. Next, I saw another Sylvia Plath and I went crazy. This is Johnny Panic and the Bible of Dreams and Other Prose Writings by Sylvia Plath, with an introduction by Ted Hughes, who I've heard not good things about. But yeah, this is the second edition. It contains 13 stories included in the first edition, together with 5 of her more interesting pieces of journalism and a few fragments from her journal. And in part 4, a further 9 stories selected from the Indiana archive. That is so good because it's so chunky, almost over 300 pages. I know she did not write a lot of stuff apart from the Belger and quite a good number of poetry, which they are listed here. But yeah, this was such a surprise to me, and I'm so honored and excited to read more of her work and just experience more of that voice. Next, I got Tom McCarthy's C, shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2010. It's such a weird cover, the spirals and everything, even at the back. I don't really know much about this, but it was my friend initially opted for this, but she ended up not getting it, so it somehow found its way into my pile. Next, I have Reading Lolita in Tehran. This is one of the ones I was so excited to see because this is a memoir in books. In Iran in the late 90s, Azar Nafisi and 7 young women, her former students, met every Thursday to discuss forbidden works of Western literature. So I think these books were probably banned there, and these were women who gathered to discuss like the impacts of these books on their lives. So we have like the authors discussed in the book: Lolita, Gatsby, James Austen. I'm so excited because if there's anything I love, it's reading about writers talking about literature, and yeah, I'm so excited to get into this someday. Next, I have this work from a small publisher, Pushkin Press, which I was so shocked to see because I never heard of it before. It's Talking to Ourselves by Andre Newman. It's, I think, a Spanish work translated, so it's like, I know nothing about it. This cover is so intriguing. It's tiny. I am just happy to own another translated work because I don't own a lot of translated works. A lot of things I own are like American. So anything to spice up my collection. And the next 2 are from the same author, Dave Eggers. I don't know, something just constantly like drew. I had heard of his name before, but I saw these 2 and I was like, why do I want to get him? I don't know, but I ended up getting 2 works. The first one is You Shall Know Our Velocity. J.D. Salinger, Ken Casey, and Jackie Rock rolled into one, says the Times. I don't know too much about that, but I know he writes very experimental fiction. And the next one is a short story collection called How We Are Hungry. I really like this cover. I like the way it looks. Yeah, I know I keep saying I am excited, but I'm genuinely excited about so much of these books. I don't know what word to use. The next one is Therese Raquin by Emile Zola. I do not own any works by Zola, but I have been interested in him since I first saw the whole endeavor of the writer Brandon Taylor to read like all the books in his Roger Marquardt series, if that's how you say it. And I think it's 20 books in that series, and he read it across a couple of years and wrote a very long review for the London Review of Books. So yeah, I got it in this Vintage Classics edition. I don't know much about it, but excited. I'm just sorry about saying excited, but yeah. Then I acquired a free copy of Sense and Sensibility by Austen because I no longer own my copy of Pride and Prejudice. I don't even know what happened to it, if I sold it or something. I cannot remember, but I'm very excited to get another work of hers. It was torn and the seller helped me mend it. So yeah, I am very happy because I want to read something else by Austen. I really enjoyed Pride and Prejudice, and it's been, I think, 3 years now. So it's about time. It's about time. This one, me and my friend, we did not fight, but she wanted it, but I saw it first. So it happened a few years ago that we were both, when we met, or a while after we had met at the book fair, we would see each other there when they came around. So there was a day that there was this book called The Sense of an Ending by Julian Barnes. I saw she had it in her hands and I wanted to cry because I wanted it so bad then, and so I never made her forget that she bought it instead of me and that she did not agree to let it go that day. And it now happened somehow again with the Belger by Sylvia Plath, like last year when she went to buy books at this sale on behalf of me and her. So she took the Belger and she did not tell me she bought it because she knew I would want it as well. So when I saw The Stranger by Albert Camus on demand, it was on a separate edge, and I was like, whoa, I want that. And she was like, wait, is there another copy? And this was the only copy because most of these books are single copies. And she kept hounding the man and hounding me, and I was like, this is my revenge. So The Stranger by Albert Camus, I'm actually going to be reading this starting on the 1st, so that's on Saturday, because I'm to discuss it with someone. I'm very excited to own that because I've wanted to own it for such a long time. And these two, the final two from this birthday set, they were my birthday gifts from one of my friends. He is an expert, but he has now since returned back to London. He was here in Nigeria for a while, and we hung out my birthday weekend, and he saw me I saw this at his house. This is Kafka on the Shore by Murakami, and I was like, whoa, I own one Murakami, but I'd never seen this one. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. And he was like, yeah, he's trying to read it, but he was just like, take it. And I was like, whoa, that's so crazy. It's a bit of a chunker. It's I think over 600 pages. I've not read any Murakami, and I'm so grateful that he gifted me this. And the other one he gifted me was Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad. This was a big book here, a sensation. I think one of the most notable books from the last few years. I don't know when it was published, if it was in the 2020s, okay, 2021. And yeah, it's a collection of stories. I'm going to read this maybe next year, early next year. We'll see, because my slate for this year is really choked up. But he was like, you have never read this, take it as well. So he has added another Nigerian book to my collection. And I am about to set you all free because we are finally at the end of this haul. The first book here is Money by Martin Amis. This was the one I spoke about. This is where I want to start with him because this book was referenced in Meg Mason's Surround List, which we know, yes, my favorite book of all time. So I saw this, it was so cheap. It was on a sale. It was a few days after my birthday when I was like, I'm not going to buy any more books. And I was like, that's a lie, I'm getting this one. So yeah, I bought that. And yeah, next I got Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. I think that's how you say her name. This I also got because it's referenced in Sorrow and Bliss. And yeah, I do not know much about it, but the cover is cool. This is very probably the funniest book ever written, a brilliant novel along classic lines. I don't know when this was written, but yeah, I think, okay, 20th century, 19 published 1932. So excited to own that. This was a free book from the vendor. This is Women in Love by D.H. Lawrence. I don't know what else Lawrence wrote, but I know he has one notable work I am forgetting for some reason. But yeah, I saw this. It's a classic, so I was like, I don't know much about it, but I'm interested in getting this. I'm trying to see if I'll see the famous one here, but it's not coming to mind now. It's worn, but that does not mind. It's complete, and I have a few books in this Wordsworth Classic Edition. So yes, this is Down and Out in Paris and London by George Orwell. I now own, I think, 4 books, 5 books by him. I cannot remember. I own 1984, Homage Catalonia, Keep the Speed Astra Flying. I also own, I think this is the fourth one, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I saw it. I was like, I have to have this because I love books about writers, like writer memoirs, and I've seen so many good things about this one. I was like, no, 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 I cannot pass this up. I had to get it. Then I got The Philosopher's Pupil by Iris Murdoch. I'd seen only one other Iris Murdoch, but I don't know, for some reason I'd never seen it anywhere. So even this was like completely new to me, and I was more drawn to this one. It's in this mass market paperback edition because the writing is so tiny and it's so chunky, and I'm like, what is this on this story that I've never seen from her about that is almost 550 pages? It's so crazy. But yes, I'd like to read some Iris Murdoch because I've heard fantastic things about her. And these three is by an author I read in 2023, Alice Smith, who I described as having the most unique singular voice I read that year, and maybe that I've ever read. I am so lucky to see 3 works by her, but the first 2 I got were The Accidental and How to Be both nominated for the Booker Prize. This one, The Accidental, was shortlisted for the 2006 Man Booker Prize. I don't really know much about it, but it has such a cool cover, so breezy, a girl lying in the grass, excited. Then How to Be Both was shortlisted for the 2014 Man Booker Prize. I have heard that this book was like, the publication of it was so inventive in that it's divided into 2 parts, and so there were a couple of the copies were printed starting one way, and the other half were printed starting in the reverse, so you never knew which one you were getting when you went to a store to buy it. So I'm very excited. I don't know what this one is about. And finally, this is There But For Thee. I don't know much about this one as well, but yeah, I am just happy to own Alice Smith works in the flesh because I want to complete her seasonal quartet. I've only read autumn. I'll probably try to read winter later this year. In December, we'll see. But yeah, and the final book is one I have wanted to own for ages. It has always eluded me, and it came to me so cheap. It was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This was crazy. This was crazy. This was crazy. And yeah, I'll be reading this. It might not take like a long time before I get to this. That's it. That's the whole 68 books. I am so tired. It's, I think, past 2 a.m. or something. I think I'm going to finish the book I'm reading. I've been rereading Universality by Natasha Brown. I read this last year. I will talk about it maybe in the wrap up that will come next month, the next month's wrap up. And I promise I'm not going away for too long. So yeah, this is it. Thank you so much. I will try to make the video as short as possible. I don't know what length I'm going to end on, but we'll see. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell me if you have any of these books on your TBR, if you have read any of these books, what you were excited to see. And that will be it till next time. Bye.